If you have been bad this year, if you expect that Santa is going to be putting coal in your sack, don't worry, because Bethesda still have you covered for Christmas. They're here with their end-of-year Starfield update, and while they're not actually going to give you anything for December 25th, they are here to promise that everything's going to get better next year. 2023 may not have been the year of Bethesda, but 2024, they are going to rock your socks off. This is it. This is where everything changes, and we're going to cover this update, but also wider changes for Microsoft as a whole. As we know, Bethesda, they're part of Microsoft now, as are Activision Blizzard. And Bobby Kotick, the man, the myth, he is departing at the end of the year, and surely that calls for balloons and streamers, right? If he's gone, the industry is saved. No more microtransactions, no more predatory monetization practices, and surely it won't simply be a case of meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Let's be real, in war, nothing changes, but let's have a look at this Starfield end-of-year update. I'm feeling positive, I'm feeling optimistic. I might have been a little bit critical of Bethesda in the past, but I'm in the Christmas spirit. I know they're gonna provide some good news. And here we go, it's coming up on the end of the year, and we want to thank all of our players for joining us for the incredible launch of Starfield. With 13 million players since September, many of which subscribed to Game Pass. They didn't buy it, they paid for a subscription 1 month, then I'm sure they cancelled when they saw the state of the game. This has been the biggest launch in our history. Your support of this new adventure has meant everything to us. You've been very busy out there in space for the past few months, and we want to share some fascinating stats about what you've been up to. Now, I don't know if all of the games do this now. I see it sometimes. I do remember Baldur's Gate 3 doing it, providing all of the stats, all the interesting goings-on, and I was intrigued by that because there's so much choice in Baldur's Gate 3. There are a lot of avenues and paths people go down, so it is genuinely intriguing to see that breakdown. But it seems to me like Starfield Bethesda are just trying to copy that. They're trying to jump on that bandwagon. Again, maybe this stat overview, maybe this happens more than I know, but it seems like, as usual, they're followers. They're not innovators these days. Altogether, you visited nearly 2 billion loading screens, which is an astronomical number, I agree. Check out the full infographic below for even more info on everything from your favorite powers to the most lethal enemies and more. And if we look at this in depth now, 13 million players, infinite universes, 22 million days played with a 40-hour playtime. Now, I have seen some copers online grasp on this 40 hours playtime number and use it as proof that people actually do love Starfield. It's just online haters, echo chambers that are convinced that Starfield's bad. It's really not. All of the normies, they're loving it, they're having a great time, ignore everything else. But the truth is, people wanted to like Starfield. I've said it before, this isn't a game like, say, an Anthem or the upcoming Suicide Squad, that live service in the Arkham universe. It's not a game where people set out to hate it. A lot of people were genuinely hyped by Starfield. It doesn't matter that Todd's lied to them before, they've exaggerated Fallout 76. People were genuinely optimistic. They wanted this to be the new Bethesda game, the open world, the next Skyrim, the next huge title that grabs people. Gamers genuinely want that. We had it with Cyberpunk. People want to be hyped about a game. They want it to be the next big thing. And that's why it's got a 40-hour playtime. People jumped into it. They saw some of the flaws. They sort of thought, something doesn't feel quite right. But they persisted. And we even had Todd, we had other people in the media saying, oh no, it's one of those games where the more you play it, the more you have fun. It just gets better and better. What a lie that was. Thanks, Todd. 26 million hours building ships so you can do next to nothing with them. 2 billion planets visited, unique planets, explore the galaxy, have a level of excitement that is the equivalent of watching paint dry. All of those outposts. The most dangerous faction, the Ecliptic, the same humanoid enemies just with a different coat of paint or reskin. The most dangerous life form, the Ashta, they've killed nearly 2 million players. Where do I find them? I don't know because the game's procedurally generated. I've got no idea where they are. Favorite meal? Now, I will say, if I'm going to give credit to Starfield, the individual food items, there's a lot of detail in those. They put a lot of time and effort into making each individual model of, say, a piece of cheese, a pizza, whatever this is, the Battle Meal multi-pack. They all look fantastic. And if this was a fantastic game, having that attention to detail to all this food, it would have been the icing on the cake. The problem is they forgot to actually put any sort of cake in the oven. We didn't get one. They didn't even buy the ingredients. Everything was missing except for the icing. And we won't go over the rest of the stats. I'm not a walking spreadsheet, but we will have a look at the rest here. We're not here just to say goodbye to 2023. We've been hard at work on everything coming to Starfield in 2024. While we're not ready to go into all the details just yet, because we're going to be thinking about that on the Christmas break. We're going to be thinking, what the fuck are we going to do? How are we going to save this? Here's a glimpse at some of the things that we are cooking up. First, we're targeting updates roughly every 6 weeks starting in February. I love when companies do this where they say, we're going to do regular updates. It's going to be every 6 weeks, we promise, but the first one's going to start in about 10 weeks. So they can't even do it right now. What makes us think that they can do it in February? It seems like they want to promise, but they don't really want to deliver. These updates will include everything from quality of life improvements to content and feature updates. Now, quality of life improvements sound fine, but they only really work if people actually like the game. If your foundation is a big nothing, if people don't like the core experience, what is the point improving the quality of life? The game is dead, it's a corpse, there is no life. At the very least, they need to totally revamp exploration. I'd be locking off a whole lot of those planets. I don't really care if it breaks a few fetch quests, and just start with a smaller number of planets and put handcrafted content in all of them. Get rid of all the procedural generation, get rid of this idea of landing anywhere and it creates a little node, it creates a big square full of nothing content. Just be able to land somewhere, maybe a set area on a planet, and there's actual content there. There's real dungeons, there's real lore, enemies, places to explore. Unless you're willing to do the hard work and bring exploration back, no one's going to give you a chance, and rightly so. And they say, join our Steam beta branch to be the first to try these updates as they begin rolling out. Why do you need to do a beta test for a city map? Just put it in the game. We don't need to be testing that. And you've already said before, these updates are barely going to be substantial. As you've said up here, quality of life. I don't think you're going to do anything too major. We've been reading all of your feedback and ignoring it. And we are excited to start launching these new features. We'll be adding new ways to travel, and you'll now be able to access city maps while exploring the major cities. This is the biggest example ever of creating a problem and providing the solution, and they were doing this for ages in Fallout 76. They were known for it. I'm pretty sure there was something like a pack limit or some sort of ammo limit in Fallout 76, and then you had to pay for a microtransaction to increase the limit. It's just examples like that, shady practices, limitations, artificial ones, and then you gotta pay money. I wouldn't even be shocked if the whole creations, the paid mods that they just brought to Skyrim and are coming to Starfield pretty soon, if maybe you were meant to pay a modder for your city map, it would have cost real dollars. That wouldn't be shocking. But now, because of the backlash, they're gonna have to do it themselves. How sad for them. For those of you who love shipbuilding, we'll also be expanding on ship customization with ship decorations, new shipbuilding options, and more. How about actually being able to do something with your ship? Oh, I can go into space with my new creation, and it's like a big diorama. I can't go anywhere, it's totally pointless. We'll also be excited to add all the new gameplay options. With these new settings, you'll be able to alter your gameplay to allow for an easier or more challenging experience that will expand beyond our normal difficulty settings. These will allow you to easily customize carry capacity, cargo access distance, ship damage, vendor credits, how you suffer afflictions. Hang on, didn't they remove that from the game? So are they just patching something in that was already there? Like the content literally exists, there's no reason it couldn't go in the game. They probably just took it out because they thought, oh, it could be too much for casual players. And now they're gonna put it back in the game and pretend they've been hard at work. That makes sense. That's how they can do these 6 weeks worth of updates, because the content exists. They just took it out of the game before launch. I mean, the game was in development for 8 years, so of course there's a bunch of stuff left on the cutting room floor. On top of that, we get new survival mechanics and more. I imagine it's just going to be like the Fallout 4 survival mode. I'm guessing there's one for Skyrim as well. I've never played it. I heard it's alright for Fallout 4, but I was a bit over that game by the time they introduced any of that. Next, official mod support will be coming to Starfield with the launch of Creations. Please come back, modders. I know you've got no passion for this game, but we need you. It's our only chance. Beginning early next year, Starfield will be getting its own exporter, and you'll have access to a new creation kit. Modding has always been an enormous part of our games, possibly not this one. They've got to like the core experience if they're going to put in their time. I don't think it's going to happen. With incredible community-made content constantly bringing fresh new experiences. With the scale and systems in Starfield, we can't wait to see what you come up with, and we can't wait to charge the customers who already bought this game at full price. And lastly, the team is hard at work on the development of Shattered Space, our first major expansion coming next year. Hey Bethesda, I was dumb enough to pre-order the deluxe edition, so I already own this Shattered Space expansion. Can we look into getting me a refund? Please? That's not going to happen. I'm an idiot. You'll have new story content, new locations, new gear, and much more. We can't wait to share more with you next year. They're not going to stick to this roadmap. When have they stuck to anything? Every 6 weeks there's updates. Unless it is that stuff like the Afflictions where they've already developed it. They just need to turn the on button. They're not going to develop anything major. This is diluted. Thank you so much for all the amazing feedback, and please keep it coming. We do read it all. We also know that you respond to it, you argue with it, and it guides us in what you really want to see in the game going forward. For the latest on Starfield, please make sure to join Constellation and get exclusive access to our Constellation Discord. Join Constellation here. Should I really click on this? Because anything to do with their website, it scares me after Fallout 76. Remember when everyone got DDoS when they tried to get refunds or something from their website? Oh, thank God, nothing's happened. It's just taken me to their generic website. It doesn't actually link to anything. Well done, Bethesda, well done. I don't need to join the Constellation Discord anyway. If I wanted to deal with Starfield fanboys, at least the equivalent, I'd go to my local mental institution. They go on to end this. Thanks again for making 2023 an unbelievable year for all of us. And I say cheers to you as well, Bethesda. Your incompetence always makes for good comedy. May you have a great rest of the year, and we'll see you in 2024 for all into the Starfield. I cannot wait, and I also cannot wait to show you what's going on with Bobby Kotick. So outside of Bethesda, we're looking at Activision, Blizzard, now another Microsoft entity. And according to this tweet, it's not just Bobby Kotick who's leaving on the Activision Blizzard side. Microsoft is keeping the key leadership on the game dev side. Oh God, so it means all their studios, it's going to be nothing but Call of Duty. You know, they've actually got some good studios, like Raven Software. They used to actually make some cool first-person shooters, original or at least different IPs to COD. That's never going to happen. It's going to be full steam ahead, COD every year, I'm sure. I know Microsoft talked about not doing the annual Call of Duty, but you know it's because it's going to be more of that live service. There's still going to be content all year round. The devs will have nothing else that they can do. Then there's World of Warcraft as well. It's had a history of being ran incompetently. I know it's meant to be a bit better now, but as we know with Microsoft, even if the wheels are falling off, like with Bethesda, like with Redfall, they don't do anything about it. They will just let that train hit the wall. They never do anything about a potential dud. And I was curious about these other people who might be leaving. They mention Lulu Meservi. And there's people in the comments, all the Lulu simps are gonna be sad. Microsoft needs to keep Lulu. And I thought, who is this? And then I saw, I say it's a woman, and she dresses up in cosplay. So of course she's gonna have these simps. And I found an interesting tweet. And given this, she's probably not too sad about leaving. She's probably keen to get away from the Xbox fans. It's an older tweet, but she says, "Good morning, gamers." And this Xbox fan, this Xbox lover, he responds, "Good morning, ready for your coronation to the Queen of Green? Xbox has lacked teeth, and you have exactly what we have begged for so long. Cutthroat and show no mercy to PlayStation. welcome to the family. Xbox is in great hands with you in its future. I'm sure she was excited to see messages like that. Hooray for Xbox. What I will say is this whole Microsoft consolidation of the industry, I was nearly going to say Constellation. I've been thinking about Starfield too much. But it's not going to be good long-term for the industry. Microsoft seem to be very poor managers of the game side. They seem to think if they just throw money at things, it'll all work out for them. They'll beat Sony, they'll beat Steam, everything else. But it doesn't work. We've seen it with Epic Games. They tried to bribe PC players. Here's free games. Come to us. Come in droves. No one did. No one gives a shit about it. This is entertainment. If I want something, if I want to play something, I'm happy to buy it. I don't need to be bribed. That isn't going to work. I feel like Microsoft need to stop focusing on buying studios, and they either need to breed talent, they need to create it, or they need to bring in actual talent. People who know what they're doing, not just corporate shills, not more of these people like Phil Spencer. I used to think Phil Spencer might have been playing 4D chess. I was thinking he keeps rising through the ranks in gaming at Microsoft. He must be really competent, surely. But then I saw his leaked emails. They did the rounds a little while ago. You can look them up. And he just comes across as a total tool, a total shill for his company, not grounded in reality at all. He even puts in emails things like, we're gonna beat PlayStation, it's gonna work. He literally sounds like a Redditor. So what kind of makes me sad is all these companies being bought by Microsoft, seeing Xbox fanboys all get excited, they're gonna be winners, but really gamers are the losers. If these studios keep getting mismanaged, the games start to fall apart, and everything becomes games for Game Pass. It's all about producing mediocrity in quick time to get it on some paid subscription service, keep the content coming, but keep the quality to a minimum. I'm so glad that Baldur's Gate 3 declined Game Pass. Larian know what they're doing. They know that gamers will pay good money for good products, and hopefully we get many more of them going into 2024. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.